Members, next we're going to take up House Bill 292 by Representative Amity. House Bill 292, Attorney Barringer will read it into the record.
House Bill 292, authored by Representative Amity, provides relative to the use of facility dogs by a witness during a court proceeding.
Under.
Representative Amity on your bill. Welcome to committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just like the most recent House member, this is my first time in this committee, and thank you for having me. Today I'm here to present House Bill 292. It provides for the use of facility dogs in court proceedings, mainly by witnesses who are minors or adults with developmental disabilities. The person seeking to use the dog has to file a notice with the court showing that the dog is qualified to serve in this capacity. Sections D and E of the bill define facility dog and specify what credentials they must have. So it's not just anyone saying, I'd like to bring my pet from home, and it's not just any service dog. These are very specific dogs trained for this purpose. The dogs we have present with us in committee this morning are trained and experienced. They're actually trained to do exactly what they're doing right now, which is sit very still and quietly for hours on end, and they do it better than I can. So I'd like to introduce to you Jay Lemoyne, DA from Grant Parish, and Louise Hines, Assistant DA from East Baton Rouge, and I'd like to allow them to talk more about the bill.
Jay Lemoyne, District Attorney in Grant Parish. As Representative Amity said, this bill deals with the procedure to give some judges some guidance and set some standards, minimum standards for the use of highly trained facility dogs in courtroom proceedings. It establishes the training requirements that it be a dog that graduated from a service dog organization certified by the Assistance Dogs International Organization or a like certifying body, provides for advance notice filing with the court with proof of certification insurance, and provides for instruction of the jury regarding the use to avoid any undue or any sympathy that might be accorded the dog. Courts across the country have upheld this, likening it to a teddy bear or other support item. And I believe Representative Amity has talked with the District Judges Association, and they have no opposition to the bill. In addition to Louise, we have with us today Lori Banks from the Children's Advocacy Center in Hammond, Tommy Beeson from the DA's office in Terrebonne Parish, and Kimberly Bashirs from the Children's Advocacy Center in New Orleans. Louisiana, though not the leader in this movement, came in early on. We've had dogs in Louisiana for a little over 5.5 years, used in countless number of forensic interviews, trial preparation, and a significant number of cases in court to this point without any problem. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I'm here to answer questions as well.
Single question by Representative Hodges. Representative Hodges for a question.
It's not a question. I just want to say thank you for bringing the bill. I know that my DAs are on board and very supportive of this, and thank you, Representative Amity, for bringing the bill. And at the proper time, I'd like to move favorable.
Okay. Seeing that we have others to testify, I think we have a little bit more time, but we will hold your motion to move favorable. There is no objection to the bill as well. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just here to answer any questions. Louise Hines, DA's office, Baton Rouge.
Thank you. Okay, members, we also have supporting this bill Dale Lee with East Baton Rouge District Attorney's Office in favor, not wishing to speak. Thomas Beeson with Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office. Joel Henderson. Lori Banks with Child Advocacy Services. Alex Tornarsky with STAR. Steve Kaufman with Advocacy Center of Louisiana. Amy Fowles with EBR District Attorney's Office. Jesse Neblis with Louisiana Foundation Against Sexual Assault, not wishing to speak. And then we have 3 wishing to speak in favor of the bill. Bala Ola, representing herself, coming forward, wishing to speak. Morgan Lamondry with Sexual Trauma Awareness and Response, wishing to speak. And Susan East Nelson with Louisiana Partnership for Children and Families wishing to speak? In favor? Welcome to committee, ladies.
Good morning. I am Bailey Ola. I'm representing myself. Thank you for having me. I am a second-year law student at Southern University Law Center, and this semester I've been in the criminal law clinic, and just in my time in the courtroom, having seen different witnesses testify, and especially children. They're the victims. They're already terrified. So why not have a furry, four-legged friend up there with them? And I've, doing my research, I've seen that a lot of the defense attorneys might be weary of it. And if they're nervous that that animal right there is going to mess up their case, then they don't have a strong case to begin with. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Susan East Nelson on behalf of the Louisiana Partnership for Children and Families. I'm so great that we're having this here in Louisiana. The first actual dog that was used in this started in 1989. Her name was Sheba, and she was able to get a 4-year-old to be able to talk about a sexual trauma that had happened to her. So this is an incredibly important program, and I'm really, really glad that we're able to bring this here to the state of Louisiana.
Hi, Morgan Lamondre with STAR. I already talked to Representative Amade. We were just coming to the table to express our support for the bill and to also say that we would like to see an amendment possibly on the floor to allow for 17-year-olds. Right now, the bill says the court shall have a witness who is either under 17 years of age, and we just, since Louisiana law does define a child as anyone under the age of 18, we're hoping that by the time it gets to the floor, an amendment will be added to allow 17-year-olds as well. But we definitely support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. The board is clear, seeing no questions. Representative Hamady to close on her bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The amendment that was just suggested was brought to my attention shortly before this meeting started, so I did not choose to attempt to amend the bill here, but yes, between here and the floor, to align this with current law.
Representative Amady, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but with it being such a simple amendment, if you'd like the committee to entertain an amendment, we can entertain it by concept, but it's up to you.
That would be fine. I didn't know what the rules are for your committee, so I didn't want to impose.
Attorney Michelle Fontenot for the amendment.
Members, the change would appear on page 1, line 10 of the bill, changing the age limit from under 17 to under 18 years of age.
Members, I've offered an amendment to House Bill 292. I see a question on that amendment. Representative Brown for a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have any opposition to the amendment. I would just like going forward to point out that we are considering people under the age of 18 children. So does that mean people over the age of 18 are adults?
That's how I always defined it, Representative
Okay, I just
Brown.
want to
Yeah, that's how
get
I've
that
always
on the record
defined
for
it.
bills going forward this session.
Thank you. In the judicial system, may we add, there's seeing no objection to that amendment. The amendment is adopted. Representative Amady has offered House Bill 292 with amendments to this committee. I motion that we report that bill favorable as amended. Seeing no objection to that, House Bill 292 will be reported favorable as amended. No, Representative Hodges' motion to report the House Bill 292 favorable as amended. Seeing no objection, House Bill 292 will be reported favorable as amendment. Thank you, Representative Amady, for your hard work on this legislation.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we welcome your furry friends to this committee.
Thank you, ma'am. You know, they're celebrities. They've got like Facebook pages and cards.
They are very much calmer than anyone that sits on this committee, including me.
And, yes. And I'd like to say that it was very comforting to have 2 of them sitting at my feet as I was speaking.
Oh, that's wonderful.
House Bill 292, Representative Amady, relative to criminal trial procedure requiring use of facility dogs in certain circumstances.
Representative Amady.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Members, House Bill 292 provides for the use of facility dogs in court by witnesses who are minors or adults with developmental disabilities. The person seeking to use a dog has to file notice with the court showing that the dog is qualified to serve in this capacity. We have with us today guests in the House. We have 2 of the state's 5 service dogs with us. If you'd look over into our visitor area, I'd like to introduce to you Duval, who is here with his handler, Tommy Beeson, Chief Investigator of the Terrebonne Parish DA's Office, and Diesel, who is here with his handler, Louise Hines, East Baton Rouge Assistant DA. Now, if you didn't notice that the dogs were here, it's probably because they're so good at what they do, which is mainly lay very still and very quietly in official proceedings, such as our House chamber session today. Now, the bill contains the credentials for the dogs that are going to serve in this capacity. They are service dogs, and they're specifically trained for this job. So this bill would not allow a person who has some other type of service dog, perhaps one for the visually impaired, to use their dog in the same manner. This bill is specific to these service dogs. They're not owned by the victim. They're not owned by the court.
Introduce my district attorney over there too.
I'm sorry?
Attorney Jay Lemoyne from Grant Parish.
Oh, I'd like to also introduce a special guest who is walks on 2 legs. District Attorney Jay Lemoyne from Grant Parish. Thank you. Okay. So sections D and E define what a facility dog is and specify what the credentials are that they must have to qualify for this job. The person who seeks to use the dog files notice that contains the credentials that prove the dog is qualified for the job. So I have testified in committee with the 2 of the dogs sitting at either side of my feet while I was speaking, and I can speak from personal experience to say that they're very comforting, and I can see that these dogs have so much experience that in the courtrooms where they've been used, they have helped so many victims to have the confidence and the courage to speak about what they've experienced. So, any questions?
For a question, Representative Robbie Carter.
Representative Hamady, why are you making it mandatory under subsection A that the court shall? Why wouldn't that be a may allow?
Well, the first time the bill was brought to my attention, that was my concern also, because I'm certainly not a person who would want to propose a requirement that restricts any judge in his own courtroom. But over time, the dogs that have been in use have produced such wonderful results that in speaking with the State Judges Association, they do not oppose the bill.
So they're fine with the mandatory language?
Yes, sir.
Because to me, it seemed like that should be something left up to the discretion of the judge.
Correct. They had no problem with it. I let them know that if there was an issue that they would be welcome to suggest amendments, and they didn't have any.
For a question, Representative Norton. No, I'm sorry, Representative Horton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That happens often. Representative Hamady, thank you so much for bringing this bill. I had no idea that this ministry, is what I call it, exists. Can you tell me, can this also be used to help children who have been victims of violent crimes?
This is exactly what the bill purports to do. And the experience of the dogs so far has helped many children who are victims of crimes, especially abuse, some very personal crimes, to have the confidence to testify.
Thank you so much, and thank you over there for your service providing these dogs. Thank you.
Thank you.
For a question, Representative Jackson.
Representative Hamady, this bill was in judiciary. I think it passed out without opposition. I think it's a wonderful thing. And for members that don't know, the dogs are over there. They sit quietly until the person tells them not to. And Representative Armini, if you remember, don't you remember, was in committee at that time. We didn't even realize it, but the dogs were sitting right under her feet and never moved. We didn't even realize they were there. And I think it offered great comfort to you, and I'm sure it's going to offer great comfort to our children in the judicial system. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
There are no other questions. You have a right to close.
I'll waive.
She waives. Representative Amity moves final passage of the bills. Many in favor of final passage vote yes. Those opposed vote no. The clerk will open the machine. Vote your machines, members. Representative Jim Morris, yes. Representative Gwynn, yes. Representative Miguez, yes. Representative Gary Carter, yes. Representative McFarland, yes. Representative Garofalo, yes. Representative Marcel, yes. Representative Danahay, yes. Are you through voting? Clerk will close the machine. 91 yeas, 0 nays. The bill is finally passed. Representative Amity moves to adopt the title. Representative Amity moves to reconsider the vote bill finally passed and lay that motion on the table. Without objection, so ordered. Request for co-authors, members. Request for co-authors on Representative Amity's bill. Clerk will close the machine. 22 co-authors.
Representative Amity, 292. You still have your guest here? And on that last one, we did have Morgan Lamadre in support, not wishing to speak. Representative?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chair and committee members, House Bill 292 provides for the use of facility dogs in court by witnesses who are minors or adults with developmental disabilities. A facility dog is one who is specially trained to provide emotional support to witnesses testifying in judicial proceedings without causing a distraction. The person seeking to use the dog has to file a notice with the court showing that the dog is qualified to serve in this capacity. Section D and E define facility dog and specify what credentials they must have. In Louisiana, we currently have 5 dogs in use in courtrooms around the state, and today we have 2 present with us here in the committee room. Please allow me to introduce to you Duval with his handler, Tommy Beeson, who is Chief Investigator with Terrebonne Parish DA's office. He's
Hello.
to my left. Morning. And also Diesel to my right, who is here with his handler, Louise Hines, with the East Baton Rouge assistant. She's an assistant DA. These dogs are trained to do exactly what you see them doing now and what they've been doing all morning, which is sit quietly in meetings, even better than even I can. And in courtrooms, they sit quietly at the feet of the witness who's testifying. They bring comfort and help to the victims so that they can remain calm, so that they'll be able to share whatever has happened to them. And at this time, I'd be happy to ask if either Mr. Beeson or Ms. Hines has anything to add about their experiences.
Thank you.
Just if you need anything, I'm here.
Thank you. They've been very well behaved. For those who may have not noticed, both Diesel and Duval have been here this entire time through people getting up and getting down and noise and coming in and come out. And I did not even, I knew they were here, but I would not have known they were here had you not told me. Senator Chopin.
We've had the opportunity to know Duval for quite some time, but I think it's important to note that, Duval family in our area is a very well-known family. In fact, the hall that you are in right now, where these committee rooms are named after Senator Claude Duval from Houma. And at the appropriate time, I'd like to move favorable.
Thank you. All right, let's get 1 or 2 more questions. We have a whole host of cards here in favor. Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So how would, you said there are 5 dogs available statewide?
There are 5 so far.
Where are they located?
There's Duval in Terrebonne Parish, Diesel in East Baton Rouge Parish, Bowles in Grant Parish, Susie in Orleans Juvenile Court, and Hayward in Tangipahoa Parish.
Okay.
Introduce yourself. I'm sorry.
Louise Hines, Assistant District Attorney, East Baton Rouge.
Okay, thank you very much. And so how often are they used right now?
Diesel comes to work every day. He last week did 2 forensic interviews at the CAC here in Baton Rouge. Most weeks he meets with some child. He's been to juvenile court. He sat outside of adult criminal court in East Baton Rouge with juvenile witnesses and adult witnesses, largely sexual assault witnesses. But he has yet to go into a jury trial.
So the DAs are typically the ones that manage the schedules for the 5?
So far, it runs the gamut. Mr. Beeson is an investigator. I'm an assistant district attorney, but the sex crimes legal secretary in our jurisdiction is the secondary handler for Diesel. There is a forensic interviewer with the Child Advocacy Center in Tangipahoa, who's the handler for Hayward. And then there's an elected DA who is the handler for Bowles and Grant Parish.
And how does the request come in for the use of the dog and during the proceedings?
I think that runs the gamut too.
Well, okay. Where's the centralized place if there was a need for it? Where would people go? That's what I'm really trying to. Is there some
to the handler? So far, that's where my experience, at least.
How do they know where the handler is, who the handler is? Because that's why I'm asking. I love the idea. It's great. I didn't know that it existed, and so I suspect there are a lot of other people who don't know that it exists as a resource. And so when we pass this bill, it's incumbent upon us to make sure that there's a centralized place to make sure judges, DAs, victims, all the people that are under 18 or have special needs have access to it so we can utilize it more and maybe get 5 more dogs trained to have it widespread. So this is all the questions are in furtherance of making it more available to people and not just generic interrogation. So
Tommy Beeson, I'm the chief investigator in Terrebonne Parish. Most of our stuff comes through the CAC. We average about 100 kids a year to do with forensic interviews, or if an attorney deems necessary for a child that he wants to use in court.
I hear you. Let me just suggest something to you, because you're going to go through each place. I'm going to suggest that you get with the Supreme Court and the liaison for Louisiana Supreme Court. Get with Justice Johnson's staff, somebody. Get with her staff and find out a way for her to disseminate through the entire system that the availability of this resource exists once this bill passes.
There's presently 5 different more jurisdictions that are trying to get dogs that have qualified for dogs.
That's great. But I think that if you get it from the top down at the ABA conference, at the Judicial Conference, more people will know that it's available. This is a good thing. Thank you for bringing the bill, Representative Amity. I think
we have a motion.
Senator Chabert made the motion. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And we do have a motion on the floor by Senator Chabert to report House Bill 292 favorably. In light of time, we have a host of cards from DAs and other interested advocacy groups we will read into the record, who are all some wishing to speak, but I'm going to make a suggestion that we allow us to move on with the motion instead. So if those wishing to speak who didn't get a chance, if you're willing to waive, looks like you have. So we have a motion on the floor by Senator Chabert to report House Bill 292 favorably. Any further discussion? Any objection? Hearing none, so moved. Thank you. Thank you all for your patience too.
House Bill 292 is an act by Representative Amade to amend Title 15, regular criminal trial procedures.
Senator Smith.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this is a bill that came through Judiciary B. There's a program where courts are using service dogs to help individuals stay calm, in particular children and sexual violence victims, and it's having a great effect on them and their ability to testify and deal with the nerves of being in the court. And this is going to mandate that young children, anyone under 18, can use those if they wish, and then use the court's discretion for those over 18.
Any questions of Senator Smith? For discussion, he moves final passage. Machines are open. Those in favor, vote yes. Opposed, no. Vote your machines, please. Vote your machines. You through voting? Senator Smith, you through voting? Senator Cortez, you through?
All right, close them up, please. 31 yeas, no nays, final passage, reconsider my objection.